Welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're unpacking some really fascinating insights from a text called Isharatul Ijaz. We're going to be exploring a dilemma that honestly touches the very core of human psychology. We're looking at that stubborn gap between what our mind absolutely knows to be true and what our body actually does. It's a deeply reflective topic, so, let's clear our minds and just get right into it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's the core philosophical dilemma presented right at the very beginning of our source text. Why does a person need to keep a truth alive through worship, even when their mind already accepts it? I mean, think about it. If you completely, logically believe something is true in your mind, why on earth would you need to constantly maintain it through repeated actions? I'm just going to let that question hang in the air for a second. It really challenges that whole idea that simply knowing something is enough.
Section 1. The difference between knowing and living. So our source text uses a really structured breakdown to explore this massive and, sometimes super frustrating gap between our intellectual acceptance of a fact and our actual physical life application of it. It opens with a really relatable thesis, that eating healthy is good for you, right? I mean, we all do. But just having that knowledge bouncing around in your brain doesn't magically make you healthier. You have to actually change your diet. And the exact same logic applies to your time. Knowing time is a precious, fleeting resource means absolutely nothing if you don't actually sit down and plan your day. If you don't act on it, that knowledge is just trapped in your mind. It doesn't transform you at all.
Section 2. The bond of faith and worship.
Let's move to and see how this builds. What our source text does so brilliantly here is it elevates that everyday logic about diets and schedules, and it applies it directly to these profound spiritual truths. But hey, before we go any further, we really have to carefully define what the source actually means by the word worship. It's not just about specific physical movements or, isolated rituals you do at certain times of the day. According to the text, worship is a comprehensive consciousness of servitude. It's an entire, all-encompassing lifestyle that guides everything you do by actively following God's commands and consciously avoiding His prohibitions. It's not just an event on your calendar, it's a 24/7 mindset.
Which brings us to a pretty stark, very direct warning from the text. I absolutely love this quote. If truths of faith are not nourished by worship, their effect may remain weak. Think about what that actually implies. A person might say they believe. They might deeply accept faith with their intellect and their conscience, but without regular physical and mental action, without that daily nourishment, that belief is frail. When push comes to shove, it just won't show up. It won't be there guiding your daily decisions. It's not going to help you manage your anger. It won't dictate how you speak to people or even how you use your time.
And this brilliantly illustrates a highly relatable modern metaphor that captures the absolute essence of our source material. Just think about the smartphone sitting next to you right now. It might literally be the absolute latest model, a breathtaking technological marvel capable of doing incredible things. But if it just sits there uncharged, what is it? It's basically a very expensive piece of glass. It just won't work. It has all the potential in the world, but absolutely zero power. Let's map out that analogy completely based on the text. First, you have faith. The text describes faith as the greatest truth a person can hold. It's your high-end device. It's your incredible potential. But then you have worship. Worship is that daily connection to the power source. It's the charger. Faith is the mind's ultimate truth, but worship is the actual battery charge that powers that truth, making it active, vibrant, and genuinely usable in your daily life.
Section 3. The test of belief in the modern age.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how urgent this concept really is. Why does this ancient wisdom matter so much right now? Well, because as the source text points out, keeping that spiritual battery charged is uniquely difficult in today's fast-paced world. This is especially true for youth. Just think about the sheer, crushing weight of what we face every day. We're talking intense exam anxiety, the relentless 24/7 pressure of social media, sudden flashpoints of anger, that endless toxic trap of constant comparison, and just a really pervasive, deep loneliness. If your belief is just a sentence floating in your head, if it's merely saying, "I believe," that is simply way too weak of an armor against these heavy, stacking forces. Mere intellectual belief is going to buckle under this modern pressure.
So how do you actually reinforce that armor? Well, the text tells us exactly how, by moving faith into action. It points to very specific active practices. We're talking about ritual prayer, heartfelt supplication, developing a keen, everyday sensitivity to what is permitted and forbidden, halal and haram, and the active cultivation of good morals. See, these aren't just old traditions. They are the active mechanics of worship that literally transform your intellectual belief into a very real, tangible, unbreakable shield against all that modern anxiety we were just talking about.
Section 4.
the life-changing daily practice.
Okay, so we've talked about the philosophy and the modern problem, but now let's look at a highly actionable takeaway from our source text. This is where we transition from just, talking about a concept to actually building it into your life. The source material suggests a brilliant but really small daily practice, and I really want to encourage you to actually try this mental exercise today. It's incredibly simple, literally just 2 steps. Step 1, pick a single truth that you deeply believe. Step 2, ask yourself, how should this specific belief change my behavior today? It is an immediate forcing function. It takes the knowledge right out of your head and forces it into your hands, into your actions, and into your day.
Let's look at some specific examples provided right in the text to help you out with this. You could choose the truth, God is watching, or sustenance comes from Him. Maybe, death is not nothingness, or simply, the door to prayer is always open. Imagine waking up and picking just one of these. If you truly actively focus on sustenance comes from Him, how does that alter your stress levels at your job today? How does it reframe your financial anxiety? Grounding yourself in just one of these truths through an active mindset can completely alter the entire trajectory of your day. It's a real game changer. So, the crucial point is beautifully captured in this deeply poetic summary from the text. Faith is a light in the heart. Worship is a steady flow that spreads that light into life. Faith gives you that initial spark, right? It's the bulb. But worship is the current. It's the steady, intentional, daily flow of action that takes that internal hidden light and uses it to illuminate every single part of your external life. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a final thought, a direct challenge from our source material. Which worship will strengthen your faith today? Take a moment and really think about that. Don't just let the knowledge sit in your mind. Put it on the charger. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.